Here's Leetcode problem 3394. Check if grid can be cut into sections. We're given an n by n grid and a list of rectangles within that grid. Each rectangle is defined by its bottom left and top right corner coordinates. The goal is to determine if we can make either two horizontal or two vertical cuts on the grid, such that these cuts divide the grid into 3 sections, and each rectangle belongs entirely to exactly one section. It's important to note the rectangles don't overlap. We should return true if such cuts are possible, and false otherwise. Let's look at the example shown here. We can make two horizontal cuts at y equals 2 and y equals 4. We can see with these two cuts, all conditions have been met. This problem can be efficiently solved using a line sweep approach. The core idea is to sort the rectangles by either their starting x-coordinate, for vertical cuts, or their starting y-coordinate, for horizontal cuts. We will attempt to place horizontal cuts first. We sort by the bottom of the rectangles, or start_y. For each possible pair of cuts, we check that all the conditions hold. We perform the same process for vertical cuts. We only need either horizontal or vertical to work to return true. Let's break down the check_horizontal_cuts function. First, we sort the rectangles by their starting y-coordinate, start_y. The check_cuts function is defined inside. The nested loops iterate through all possible pairs of cuts. Cut 1 and cut 2 are the y-coordinates of the two horizontal cuts. We iterate through all rectangles and place them into sections. If any section ends up empty, that set of cuts does not work. Next, we perform a series of checks to validate the correctness of these cuts. If everything passes, the function immediately returns true. If no valid cuts are found after checking all pairs, it returns false. The check_vertical_cuts function is very similar to check_horizontal_cuts. The key difference is that we sort the rectangles by their starting x-coordinate, start_x, instead of start_y. The logic for finding and validating the cuts remains the same, but we're now working with vertical cuts instead of horizontal ones. Cut 1 and cut 2 are set to start_x of two rectangles. The rest of the logic is the same, but using start_x and end_x instead. Finally, the check_valid_cuts function simply calls both check_horizontal_cuts and check_vertical_cuts. If either of these functions returns true, it means we've found a valid set of cuts, either horizontal or vertical, so the overall function returns true. Otherwise, if neither function finds valid cuts, it returns false. The time complexity is dominated by the nested loops within the check_cuts function, where we iterate through all possible pairs of cuts. In the worst case, we might have to check all combinations of rectangles for cuts, resulting in a time complexity of big O of r cubed, where r is the number of rectangles. The space complexity is big O of r because, in the worst case scenario, we store all rectangles in a section. That's all for this Leetcode problem. If this video was helpful for you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more Leetcode explanations. Let me know in the comments what kinds of problems or topics you would be interested in seeing. Also, if you'd like to help me continue making these videos, you can donate at buymeaboba.com, link in description.